My name is Alvin. I'm from a show called The Money Moves, and we are asking people, what is arbitrage? Do you know what arbitrage is?
Hell no. Arbitrage is
what that means.
Do you know what arbitrage is?
No.
Do you know what arbitrage is?
No.
You want to try again?
No,
So
this is the worst person to ask. I don't know anything finance.
All right, awesome. Do you know what arbitrage is?
Arbitrage?
Arbitrage.
No. What is that?
No. Exactly. Do you know what arbitrage is?
Arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
Arbitrage. No, I'm not too sure.
All right. Nobody knows what arbitrage is.
Thank you, Mabuza. Hi, and welcome to the Money Moves studio, where we aim to educate, inform, and entertain. Thank you so much for being with us from episode 1. For episode 3, we've got a lot in store for you. However, before we go further, please do like and subscribe. It really does go a long way. So, Paul, I'm not the only one that had a very, very daft expression on my face when I first heard about arbitrage. What is it?
Good morning, Ingrid. Reporting from the beautiful Cape Town this morning. What are we drinking? It's cold, Ingrid, so we're drinking coffee. No milk, no sugar, black as is, but hopefully the markets are green today. Ingrid, arbitrage is actually such a simple concept, but when you first heard about it, it's like doing math for the first time. What is 3 plus 3? It's a whole different language, but it's one of the best ways to make money that I know of, basically risk-free. So viewers, if this is you and you find value in this episode, set up a meeting with me. Let's discuss it, because this is just an unbelievable way to make money. So Ingrid, what is arbitrage? Arbitrage is when you take advantage of a product that is trading at different prices in different markets. So let's say, for example, you have a packet of chips in South Africa. It's the same packet of chips, whether it's in South Africa, America, Australia, it doesn't matter. Here in South Africa, you go to our 7-Eleven or Spar, and here this packet of chips is 15 Rand a packet. In America, that exact same packet is $1, which is 18 Rand. So it's the same thing, but it's priced differently. So what if you can go theoretically and go to our 7-Eleven, buy all the knickknacks, 15 Rand packet of chips on the one side, put it on a plane, and can go and sell it in America for 18 Rand. So you buy it here at 15, sell it at 18, and you make a 3 Rand profit per packet of chips. That is what we call arbitrage.
It kind of gives a new meaning to the word money moves. So therefore my next question, how can we utilize arbitrage? And for all the viewers out there, I've heard that the name they call it on the street is arb. So how can we utilize arb in a real way?
And people do it, like, for example, on Facebook Marketplace. All you need is a guy that is selling a red bike, and another guy wants to buy a red bike, and you just play a middleman and you make a profit. People and companies also do it with imports and exports all the time. So that is arbitrage. We basically see it on a day-to-day basis. But Ingrid, there is a way to do it, which is smooth and simple, cheap and fast.
I get the sense that you've been dabbling in arb for a while. Can you please tell me and the viewers whether you've been successful and how you go about it?
Ingrid, there is a way, and we actually do it via crypto, because crypto is digital and it's fast and it's cheap. So the first time I heard about it was in 2017. My one friend, he realized the Bitcoin in America is actually slightly cheaper than it is in South Africa. So what if you can now theoretically go buy Bitcoin in America, send it over the internet because it's fast and cheap and simple, send it over to South Africa, and then sell it here for a profit. And I thought, dude, firstly, what is Bitcoin? I've never heard of that. And secondly, this can't be possible. Like, to do it quickly and just make money out of thin air. It sounds like a pyramid scheme, but it's not. I understand what you're saying theoretically. And so we tried it, Ingrid. We actually tried it. So we pulled together money. We went to ABSA, exchanged our rands for dollars. That's step number 1. Send the dollars to an American exchange. We used Kraken, but you can use Coinbase, Binance. We bought the Bitcoin there with our dollars. Now we have a Bitcoin. Let's say we had one Bitcoin that time. We send the Bitcoin over to South Africa, and we sold that one Bitcoin here. But instead of 50,000 rand, the price we bought it for, we got like 53 or 54,000 rand, and we withdrew it to our bank account. And I made 3,000-4,000 rand out of nothing. I couldn't, like, it took me, I just couldn't, my brain, I couldn't understand what just happened. Like, I made money, I understand how I did it, but how can it be so easy? Like, is this real even? And what did we do naturally? We took the 54 that we made and we sent that back over. We did exactly the same thing and back came 58. And it's like, no ways. And obviously over time, we now learn the tricks and the tips and tricks of the trade, and we used more money and we lowered the transaction cost and found the best platforms to do it with the largest spread between the South African price and the US price and so on. And we made so much money.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and...
So tell me, are you still going about sending over 50,000 rand to the US and back again?
Ingrid, we are still doing it. Of course, we are still doing it. I've been doing it now for year number 7. The margins are a lot lower at the moment. So it used to be, when I started, it was about 5-6%. Now it's about between 0.5% and 2.5%. It differs all the time. So on average, let's say it's about 1%. So if you do the cycle with 100,000 rand, you send over 100,000 rand, you get back 101,000 rand in your pocket at the moment, give or take.
I can't help but feel a bit of a flag coming up in my mind, because if I make money and it sounds too good to be true, or it sounds this dreamy, there ought to be a few risks, and you've mentioned basically risk-free. Please unpack basically for me.
Arbitrage is by definition a risk-free strategy, but of course nothing is 100% risk-free. So the most obvious thing is, what if the trade goes wrong? What if I send 100,000 rand and I only get back 95,000 rand? Actually lost money. Now that buying and selling happens almost instantaneously. So let's say I now switch over my rand to dollars. I buy the Bitcoin in American exchange, 100,000 rand. Now I send the Bitcoin to South Africa, wanting to sell it for 103 or 104,000 rand to make my profit. But what if in that 10-15 minutes, that once it's now in the air, electronically, it's not on the American exchange anymore, but it's not in South Africa either. Holy moly, Ingrid, the first time that happened to me, I'm like, oh, the money, where is it now? It's in the air. Like, I'm not tech savvy, but anyways. So there is about 10-15 minutes that Bitcoin takes to transfer from one exchange to another. So in that 15-20 minutes, the price of Bitcoin does change. But it's only 15 minutes. So it can go down by 1%. So you thought you make 3%. If it goes down by 1% in that time, you only make 2%. The second one is platform risk. You can send it to, let's say, Binance. Binance comes out and says, we're freezing everything. There's been a hack on our platform and your funds are not available at this moment. There are risks, Ingrid, but it's so slim that that's why I say it's basically risk-free.
It is, and as a side note, what came to my mind, the 15 minutes when the money's in the air, it makes me think of when you enter a tunnel on the one side and you hold your breath until the other side. And I would just imagine 7 years ago, you were probably having very much the same experience. Your history with it sounds like a very romantic story, but how is it that we're still doing it today? If more people buy in one market and sell in market B, the price ought to level.
If there is a price difference, if you keep buying on the cheaper side, i.e. America in this case, it ought to drive up the price. And if you keep selling on the more expensive side, it ought to drive down the price. So eventually, it's going to basically even out, and you'll make it like the price will be basically exactly the same everywhere in the world. So why isn't that the case? It's lower than it used to be, but it's still there. And the reason is that SARS actually limits us to how much money you may take out of South Africa per year. And all the travelers, all the viewers that love to go overseas, you'll know that you're only allowed 1 million rand out of the country every year. You can do a special application with SARS to take out an additional 10 million. So in total, if you make full use of the facility, that's 11 million. So per person, oopsie. Per person, you may only take out 11 million per year. But it's a problem in the sense that you can't fully exploit the arbitrage because you are limited in how much money you can take over. Otherwise, theoretically, Ingrid, what I would do the whole time, I would take 100,000 rand and flip it 20 times a day into infinity. Basically, only me. That's without anyone else doing it. And what will happen if I keep doing the cycle, keep buying on the cheaper side, keep selling on the more expensive side? I myself will basically cause the ARB to disappear within a few years with only my 100,000 rand. Now everyone is doing it, but the fact that they limit you means that there's now still a price difference, but I can't take advantage of it anymore because of my limit, and I have to wait until the next year when it resets, the limits resets, to do it again. So that is why arbitrage still exists.
Doesn't SARS have a problem with people doing this? And also, I suppose if you do make money, you'll probably have to pay tax on the money.
So SARS doesn't have a problem with this. In fact, they love it because they make money. You have to pay tax, remember. It's not tax-free, this. This is a trade that you're still doing. You send over money to America. SARS knows what's happening here. It's been happening for a very long time, and they give the tick of approval. They know the money is coming back. They know people are profiting from this. So at the end of the year, when you do your tax return, you declare, okay, I made, let's say, 1%, which is over 100,000 rand, and SARS is coming for their pound of flesh, and you have to declare it. And it's part of your income tax, Ingrid. So that's your second question, is how is it taxed? It's not capital gain, it's actually income tax. So you do get taxed, and they like it. So there's a SARS elephant in the room.
So Paul, you're throwing around these numbers, and I must be honest with you, not a lot of people are sitting with that amount of cash in their bank accounts. Can I go to the bank and get a loan, or would the companies that will assist me, because I'm not trusting myself with the calculations?
Listen properly. 769,820.
Would they accept cash in bank that is actually a loan from the bank?
It has to be your own money, and you have to actually have proof of funds. So, okay, I see 100,000 rand. Now, where did you get this 100,000 rand? Prove it to us. Did you sell it from your Alan Gray shares? Is it money in your emergency fund? And maybe just one thing I can mention, Ingrid. And this is the Holy Grail. If you are married, your spouse may also trade with your money. Let me just wrap your head around this. You need your own capital. You don't even have 100, but now you get 100. Your wife or your husband doesn't have 100 on their own as well, but they can piggyback on your 100. So what's happening now is the following. You have 100,000 rand. You give it to this company. They trade 11 million for you and 11 million for your spouse on the same 100,000 rand. To do a Buddha sum, you give 100, you make 100, your spouse makes 100, so you give 100, you get 300 back in total without lifting a finger.
Well, this is really interesting, and for those who are not yet married but are thinking of doing it, this is the sign. But anyway, so viewers, Paul does have a link in the description below. If you do have any questions about this, please set up a meeting with him. We hope that you can take ownership to make your money move. Thank you. Bye. Oh, bye. See you next week. Cheers.